having another baby? When did you guys have sex?
No kid that young should be able to know that sex is required to have another baby. This is what happens when you put cell phones into kids' laps at the age of 2.
Aw,
Okay.
kitties.
The cat's and the horse, it's cute.
That looks like a toe. That looks like a big-ass toe. Comment section, tell us what the hell this animal is. I mean, it's somewhat cute. What's happening here?
This is a little kid throwing a bowling ball. There's
Okay.
bumpers up, okay? But watch him will it in. Like,
No,
he's lying
no.
down begging.
The
He's praying to
bumpers
his
willed it in.
3-year-old gods. And he got it. Is that,
Not impressive.
what's your problem?
Because there's bumpers up. Like, I know you're 4 or 2 or whatever you are, but
It
like,
still
how is
counts.
that? No, because it's bumpy. It's
How many
it's
strikes
just
did you
physics.
throw when you
It's
were
just
3
physics.
years old?
No, if I had bumpers, I would strike
It's
it
still
every
a
time.
strike. And
No,
that's
no.
not fake because you
Fake?
can't, if you're a little kid, you can't react like that. Not every kid can be Macaulay Culkin. That's real. That's
No.
real emotion. He's
you have
willing
no
that
idea.
in.
He could be, like I said, he's like 2 years old. He could be excited that he even just got it down to the end of the lane.
All right, we'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
The reason why we show you these
Hopefully
videos,
his parents aren't watching.
as always,
Be
because
proud of your
they're
son.
real, is because this show, Buckets, is not just a basketball culture, it is a lifestyle.
He's Rob. I'm Cassidy. And on the way, we stirred up with our banger. Does he even still do this? I haven't seen it
I
in
think
a while.
Little B told him not to,
Oh.
and then he blew that game to the Spurs.
Well,
Jonathan
Lil B,
Simmons
don't tweet
outplayed
us.
him,
Don't
and he
tweet
stopped
us.
doing this. Little B, don't curse us.
Yes, please don't.
It's a celebration.
Plus, we sit down with Born Ready,
Mm.
a.k.a. Lance Stephenson, and we go through his journey on how he's become one of the most entertaining players today. Plus, we debut a new segment on the show. It's called First Team, All Buckets. This is Buckets. So we all know there are rules in the NBA. For instance, do not worship any other player, get buckets and talk that ish, respect the basketball gods. You know. Yeah. There's also things that should just be understood.
Like unwritten rules. Rules that aren't rules in
Well,
basketball,
basically.
but should be rules.
Yes. And our rules.
For example, if rivals are facing each other one-on-one and both players hit the button, let them make their own calls. There are times when an individual rivalry becomes more than basketball. It's personal.
Clear
it's
out.
either you or him. I'm thinking Magic versus Bird.
Yes.
Miller versus Starks. Westbrook versus Durant.
Burner.
When both parties involved agree to hit the button, a button which triggers a Sidney Dean versus Billy Hoyle white men can't jump-esque duel, referees' authority to enforce the rules of basketball should no longer exist. There's going to be grabbing. Pivot feet are gonna slide.
Yeah.
There's gonna be hand checks. There are always casualties in war. We want to see who the better man is.
Yeah, we
and
wanna see
this
that.
is the only way how.
Exactly. We want to see that. Like, that's entertainment number one.
Giannis versus Durant was fun.
That was. But, like, there's no bitterness.
I pay to
There's
see.
actually the opposite. Like,
I pay-
Durant loves Giannis.
I pay to, if I'm going to a game, I pay to see the one-on-one rivalries.
Yes.
I don't pay
Clear
to
out.
watch technicalities.
just like a sprinkler.
Number 2, any assessed charging call is voided if the defender is posterized. Sacrificing your body is a noble deed. Standing in front of a freight train barreling down the lane is not for the faint of heart. And anyone who is willing to risk sharp pain and embarrassment for the betterment of the team is a greater man than I.
Yeah.
But if a defender chooses poorly, their shame should forever be looped on the internet, and in extreme cases, side effects should include having their last name become a notorious verb like Mozgov.
Oh, Mozgov.
Referees should never deprive us of witnessing this basketball blue moon. Please, please, please do not ruin A1 highlights because of a technicality.
Or not making a business decision.
Next, no technical fouls should be assessed for trash talk. Ever. If players are involved in a verbal skirmish, do not break it up. Let them get in each other's faces and hurl slurs at each other like B. Rabbit sending Papa Doc back to the Stone Age in 8 Mile.
Quality.
I understand that the NBA does not want to promote hostility and violence, but if the NHL allows players to fight and have referees stand there as
Facts.
observers while it happens, there is absolutely no reason why basketball players can't so much as get in each other's faces without penalty.
And just like the 2-minute report, like we should get full transparency. Actually, I want the transcript. Like maybe make it pay-per-view and you have to prove that you're 18 years old.
Should have let this go. I want to see that
even
in
though
writing.
I have said that the KG Lala comment was just so disrespectful, I mean, like
It's part
it
of
was fun
basketball. It's different.
Actually, learning that was what was said. I'm just.
And it's also beneficial to the NBA for these things to happen. These become things that we talk about on the internet, too.
And if you think about it, the more it's exposed, the maybe more they'll clean it up.
Okay.
Aha!
Number 4, if a player is crossed up and falls over, all traveling and carrying violations are null and void. Similar to getting dunked on, the other thing you can just absolutely never do on a basketball court is fall over. It doesn't matter whether you trip over a foot, step on a foot, or get your foot stepped on.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances is falling permissible while defending a crossover.
Permissible.
If it was hashtag shoot your shot 2016,
Yeah.
don't jump 2017,
Don't jump.
it is now never fall 2018.
Never fall.
If an opponent actually does end up on the floor, the ref should not have the authority to ruin the highlight by blowing the play dead because
No.
the culprit took an extra step over the player's fallen corpse.
Yes, and we need to be able to soak it up as much as possible. On top of that, there should be extra points for any sort of bench mob celebration. Or and there should be no penalty.
Like actual points that count towards the score? It counts
Okay,
for
how
like
about
Twitter
this?
points.
No violation. Let's put it that way.
Null and
If they-
void.
they-
Whistles automatically go away.
The bench should be able to run onto the court.
They should have a
and
button.
Celebrate.
They should
yeah.
have the NBA should
Like-
have a button that they press that makes every ref's whistle not work.
Yeah.
Because we want this to
Exactly.
keep going.
Exactly.
It's the overrule. It's kind of the Hunger Games like control center
Yeah.
button.
Shout out to the Warriors bench mob, though, after that Ibaka floor seats.
Yes,
That was
facts.
super disrespectful.
Yes. And finally, this one I hope we can all agree on. Don't make a game-deciding call unless it is painfully obvious. If there's a game on the line and the referee is considering single-handedly altering who gets the W and who gets the L, the violation better be a borderline crime. Otherwise, history is going to tell us the story of a referee, not the player. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Nobody wants that.
We should all live
ever.
in OKC then, right? All the games should be played in OKC.
Oh,
your whistles.
ooh, little subtweet at the league right
I'm
there.
just saying.
Nice job,
LeBron's
Cassidy.
LeBron's tweet after that game was pretty good. Just gonna say that.
And now, a banger.
Stephenson, a three.
He gives a little dance afterwards.
So the key to a great celebration is the right amount of DGAF. And as we saw early on in that banger and last week against the Cavs, Lance Stephenson gives zero cares.
He has a lot to say. And he not only has a lot to say, he portrays everything he thinks and says. He's one of those few players in the league amongst, I'm thinking like J.R. Smiths of the world, Nick Young's, guys that live their mentality on the court. We had the opportunity to speak to Lance one-on-one and get the full story. This is Lance Stephenson.
What I did to LeBron, I tried everything possible. Blowing in the air, grabbing his T-shirt, and I'm going to challenge you as much as possible to win. You know what I get a lot? People is sometimes scared to say something to me or come up to me because of how I play on the court or how I look. I just got that New York aura just in me, and people get a wrong impression of that. I want to be that guy where you could just come up to and be able to talk to, and that's where I am.
Say born ready. Say born ready.
Receiving the nickname from Rucker Park was like a blessing. The name before that they gave me, I didn't like. They called me Ice Water. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna take that name. So I started playing extra harder, trying to do extra tricks to get a different name. And when Bobito was on the mic and he said, your name is Born Ready. That's Born Ready. I was like, ooh, I like that. To even get on the court in streetball, you gotta be talented because all the older guys that's on the court before you, they're not gonna pick you up if you ain't got no talent. So you gotta have confidence, you gotta have that toughness growing up in New York. I would use Rucker Park and playing against the older guys as like practice, because if I could do the moves on the older guys, I mean, people my age, it was easy. And then after the games, you see the kids run up to you and show you love. Coney Island is a tougher environment, but you just gotta outweigh the bad and be focused and follow your craft and don't let the negative stuff push you to be negative. I learned a lot growing up around all these legends like Stephon Marbury, Shabazz Telfair. I just took what they did and tried to do it in my own type of swag. You know, you're young and you don't want to get too cocky. You got to stay humble. And every game was tough for me because they knew I was the #1 player and they always wanted to do great against me. So it was no easy games for me. Every game, somebody was trying to take my spot. See, the young me, somebody throw an elbow on me, I'm trying to go back at them. But now you throw an elbow on me, I'm trying to outsmart you, trying not to get a tech, trying not to ruin my reputation. I feel like the stuff that I do on the court is just for on the court, and I'm just trying to win. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes you might take it the wrong way, but my goal when I'm on the court is to win. I only put that Better Believe It song out. Rapping is just a hobby to me. I do that during my off time.
Believe it, better believe
One day I was
it.
just like, man, I'm gonna make a song. And when I figured out I could make a song, I just started making a whole bunch of songs. I usually, if I'm in the locker room, I'll play it, I'll act like it's not me. I'll be like, what y'all think about this song? And they like, man, who that? Who? And I just like, oh, it's just a guy from my neighborhood, he made a song. When I put it out, everybody's like, man, that was you the whole time? I was born ready. It just became a hobby that I started getting good at. I'm not putting out no music. I'm not talking about no music. It's all about basketball right now.
I was born ready. I was born ready. I was born
I'm trying to
ready.
hear that
He's got
album.
layers.
I want to hear that album like yesterday.
He's got layers.
Yeah.
Lance does.
Lance certainly, like, if he's on several lists when it comes to personalities in the NBA. Like, if there were a first team give no fudge,
Sickles.
yes, he would definitely top that list, no doubt. And that type of thinking leads us to a new segment that we're doing. Basically, it's our version of an all-star team, if you will. It's called First Team All Buckets.
In this edition, the Guardians, the guys you'd want to have your back on the court. #1, obviously, Patrick Beverley. Okay,
Obviously.
If there has ever been a player in the NBA who you want on your team, but you definitely don't want on the other team or to be playing against, that's Patrick Beverley. He has proven that if you need someone in your war trench, that the enemy is coming at you, Patrick Beverley is that dude.
Yeah, he will defend to the last breath. That's for sure.
Yes, over like the smallest things too. That's why I love him.
Exactly. I get it. I agree. That is a good addition.
Okay, Boogie, another obvious selection here. The sheer physicality and the dude's crazy.
His
Let's
name
just be
is
honest.
Boogie.
His name's Boogie for a reason, right? He's a monster physically, but for someone that is, you're looking for like a scorched earth kind of protector, this is your man.
He is ride or die for sure.
Yes. Here's an underrated one, because there's some obvious ones, but I want Jusuf Nurkic, the 7-foot monster from Portland.
Okay.
Here's a little thing about Jusuf Nurkic. He's big and everything. He's intimidating. His dad is a 7-foot plus, 400-pound Bosnian police chief. Can you imagine how he was brought up with a dad that big in a country that was just developing like that? Are you kidding me? He has been through everything. Underrated, Yusuf Nurkic.
Okay.
And following up on that same concept,
Underrated, because, yeah.
Zaza Pachulia.
Oh.
First and foremost, he looks like a Bond villain. He's willing to get dirty for you at all times. He's probably like, you don't like him if he's on the other team, but if he's on your squad, Zaza is always willing to do the dirty work.
How you don't have Tony Allen on your list? I mean, like 3 reasons first and foremost. 1, Chicago, born and raised, Chi-Town stand-up.
Okay.
2, he played for Eddie Sutton. I don't think I really need to expand on that. And 3, this.
First team all defense.
First team all defense.
He's the grind father.
Yes. Huh. I don't know. Patrick Beverly versus Tony Allen, like,
But I'm taking Patrick Beverly
That's an
over Tony
insult.
Allen.
All
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
Who's your other one?
The other one is, I mean, a guy who's been in the league a minute, but he's also, for the majority of the time he's been in the league, been on a list of the tough guys in the NBA. That's David West.
What list?
He has that old man strength that, like, will sneak up on you.
What has he done to prove that he should be on the list? The
What do
list,
you
They always
mean?
talk about like the list on pregame shows and stuff.
Exactly.
He's not on the list. You put him in Charles Oakley.
Because he gets polled, and people poll actual players who play against him, and they feel how strong he is. And that's a real
Is
tough
there a
guy.
difference between strength and mentality? Because I don't think David West has the mentality to be on this so-called list. I wouldn't want David.
I'll let
I've
him
seen
know
him
that
play
next time I
defense in
see
New
him.
Orleans. David West did not play defense
Okay.
when he was with the New Orleans Hornets back in the day.
Okay, David, don't at me.
You
But
can
definitely
find me.
at him. Do
He
the
should
fact
not
that
be on the list.
All right. So we clearly don't agree. Let us know your thoughts.
So who's on the list for you?
Hit us up, like I said, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Let us know your thoughts. Also, give us some suggestions for our next banger as well. We'll be back on Friday.
Get buckets. Die trying, everybody. See you next time.
Stay petty.